Hey everyone, I know these intros are probably getting annoying, but if you're new here, I will be donating half of all of the profits from my videos for the next few months to help with the recent Hurricane Helene in the US. I will be donating to the United Cajun Navy, who currently have boots on the ground and are helping aid the people who need basic necessities like food, water, medicine, and baby items. I won't take up too much of your time. Please be sure to live this video, comment your thoughts down below, and subscribe as I upload new videos every day for your entertainment. Thank you. Now on to the story. Just found out my ex-wife has been feeding my kids paint thinner. I found this out, like I do most things about life with their mother, through the kids, M7 and F5, as communication has been pretty much non-existent between the ex and I since our split 6 years ago. Before anyone jumps to conclusions, no, I don't ever press my kids for information. I've worked very hard to establish an uninhibited, open, no topic is off-limits type of relationship with my kids, even though I've only got them every other weekend. I want them to feel comfortable enough to fully express themselves and speak their mind freely around me. This has led to several discoveries about certain aspects of their life that their mother has asked them not to reveal to me, something I am very much against. I don't believe any child should have to hold secrets between their parents. It isn't their responsibility and is something I would never ask of them. That being said, they've come out with nuggets of wisdom such as we shouldn't be drinking tap water because the government puts chemicals in there that makes us docile and obedient. Santa isn't real, but Jesus is, and the Bible is 100% fact. Controversial topic, I understand. And most recently that the government says turpentine is poisonous, but it is actually good for you. What the hell do I do here? If I speak to my ex about this, or even let slip that I know what's going on, she isn't going to have an honest conversation about it with me, and I fear that she'll just press the kids even harder to keep things from me. I don't want their heads filled with this rubbish, but I feel so powerless to stop this. All I can do is try to teach them to think critically, but that is only going to be so effective when they're getting told all this nonsense is fact. Help. Edit. I spoke to my children about it and recorded the conversation to ensure there was no confusion about what was being said. They were being fed a spoonful of turpentine every day by their Nana for the past 4 weeks while they were all away on holidays, but there is zero chance my ex wasn't aware this was happening. Definitely turpentine. 100% pure gum turpentine. My boy said the bottle read. The distilled stuff, he said. They even started singing that Mary Poppins song. A spoonful of sugar helps the turpentine go down. Feel like I'm in an alternate timeline. Thank you everyone for being so helpful. I appreciate it so much. Edit. The talk screen won't be happening until we get a referral. Poisons Hotline has no literature on hand for chronic exposure to turpentine, let alone in children. But the kids don't seem symptomatic. We will be visiting either a GP or the hospital first thing tomorrow for a full checkup, and a report will be made separately to that of the medical mandatory report. I don't really see a scenario playing out where CPS isn't getting involved here, and I can't not have my kids medically assessed knowing that this has been going on. Currently preparing for the crap storm that's bound to ensue. Comments. Deleted user. Sorry, but you found out your ex-wife is poisoning your kids and your response is to get on Reddit instead of taking your kids to the hospital and contacting authorities? Hopefully this is as fake as it seems. OOP. Ex-wife. The kids seemed asymptomatic. Had I not been made aware of this, I probably would never have known anything was up. That being said, my mother is a nurse and we did have the kids looked at. Yes, I came to Reddit as one source among several for guidance because I had no effing clue what to do about this or even what my options were. I try not to act rash or emotionally impulsive when it comes to my children. I try to weigh up my options. My father has a muddy history, so even though he's not the same person he was 15 years ago, a CPS investigation has potential to forcefully alienate my children from their grandparents. That's just one example of what factors into this. I wish this were fake. Deleted user. What the F? Asymptomatic? Dude, they've told you she's poisoning them. You should have immediately taken them to the hospital, regardless of whether you can see symptoms. I don't care if your mom is a nurse. She can't run tests by looking at them. Anyway, I still am not convinced this is real, but if it is, what you just said about your dad makes this all more confusing and sketchy. Take your kids to the hospital and seek legal help. OOP. We spoke to the hospital man. We called ahead. There was literally nothing they were prepared to do for us other than what we had already done. They wouldn't run tests unless the kids were exhibiting symptoms, or they had a referral, even after telling them what was going on. The nurse was very apologetic, but it is what it is. Best they could offer was a place 2 hours away that wouldn't open until tomorrow anyway. I know what you're saying, but it just isn't that simple. And yeah, I understand that seems sketchy. I guess it kind of is. There is no legal help I could possibly get on a Sunday evening, and no way we could move things forward without rushing into it. We are going through everything tomorrow, properly and thoughtfully. Fast walking short guy. Jesus Christ. record some evidence, send it to the cops, and have your ex imprisoned for child endangerment at the very least. This type of potato is going to start feeding them effing bleach or urine sooner than later. Not even joking. She is a dangerous level of stupid that your kids should not be forced to suffer. It is your responsibility to take action to protect them from her. OOP. Unfortunately, the only evidence I have is a second-hand verbal account of the testimony of a 7-year-old boy. He told my mother, his grandmother, who is a career nurse, who promptly told me what was going on. She's 50 shades deep into crazy conspiracy theories herself, and even she was mortified upon hearing this. My ex won't say or admit to anything, and I don't trust her to be honest if her custody arrangement is on the line. It's all just conjecture at this point. Fast-walking short guy. Hire a private eye. Get evidence. It's your responsibility as a parent to protect your children. You can't be so passive. Do something. Oop. I agree. It is my responsibility. I have zero intention of being passive about this. I just see my current options hitting a lot of dead ends. That's why I've come here. If I'm going to go the legal route, I want to move it through clean. Calculated. No room for error. He said / she said BS. Won't even get me a seat in the courtroom. Private investigator could be something worth following up, though. Thank you. Fish guts cake. Those poor kids. Good idea picking this idiot to mate with. OOP. Yeah, look, I've got no good defense for that. Changed a lot after she got her ring, though. There's a reason I'm not still with her. Update 1. So I just found out through my kids that my ex-wife has been feeding them turpentine mixed with sugar or honey as a way to worm them, and also been using it topically to treat mosquito bites. They are 7M and 5F. Reading up on what it does if you ingest it, because who the hell would ever think it's a good idea to drink paint thinner as medicine? It can be devastating, and it really doesn't take a whole lot to mess you up, especially if you're a child. Think. 1 tablespoon could potentially be enough to change your life. Kinda messed up. I don't think talking to the ex is going to yield any results, and realistically, I don't even expect her to be honest about it anyway. My only evidence so far is the second-hand account of the testimony of a 7-year-old boy. He told my mum / his grandma, and she went and told me. Do I have any legal options here? Should I be collecting evidence, and if so, what kind? I honestly don't know what to do. I can't have my kids being fed literal poison, and to top it off, they were saying, yeah, the government tells us it's poison, but it's actually good for you. This isn't the first time they've come out with little nuggets of conspiracy-soaked wisdom like this. Tap water makes you docile and obedient sort of stuff. But this one is truly terrifying. They were meant to go back to their mother today, but I've got them in my care until next weekend due to an undisclosed emergency that my ex sprung on me about an hour ago. Never mind that I'm starting a new job tomorrow and wasn't prepared in any way to look after them for a week with no notice. But please, if anyone here can give me a few tips or pointers, I would be so grateful. I'm stressing pretty bad about this. I don't know what to do. Update 2. So for the last 4 or so weeks, my kids, 7M and 5F, have been ingesting a spoonful of turpentine every day and been using it topically to treat mosquito bites. 100% gum turpentine. My boy said the bottle read, paint thinner. I've questioned them about it, and I have zero doubt this was happening. Now I've wanted to book in for a tox screen and blood work, but would have to travel 2 hours to get it done. The only other option being police and CPS, both unfavorable options, or seeing a GP. What am I in for here? What damage would chronic ingestion of turpentine cause a 7-year-old or 5-year-old child? What are the things I should look out for? Would tips even show up on a screen in such a small volume? Update post. Effects of chronic turpentine exposure in youth. The contents of this post were not able to be recovered. However, this comment was deemed relevant, as it has information about turpentine therapy. Solomon Gilbert, Mod. I'm sorry to hear of this happening. Usually, we wouldn't allow medical advice requests, but this is an exception. Turpentine has been touted as an alternative medicine cure-all, as has been amplified by misinformation on the internet. Please seek immediate medical assistance from a trained healthcare professional and take any discussions surrounding medical advice here with an enormous pinch of salt. That said, this subject is very important to discuss and could help others who may have come across similar cases. OOP. My apologies. I will admit I didn't carefully look through the rules of this sub before posting. I did stumble across this particular school of thought this evening, unfortunately, whilst researching the effects of turpentine ingestion. It saddens me to learn of its existence, but honestly I'm not as surprised or shocked as I feel I should be. Understandably, advice from strangers on the internet will never be a credible substitute for a trained professional opinion. Sorry guys. But I do appreciate your concern and the willingness of those who helped. Thank you. Update on the situation in a comment. The kids have been medically assessed. They've had blood work done, testing for liver and kidney function, as well as any other abnormalities, and have undergone some minor testing. Thankfully, Everything has come back clear, and they seem to be happy and in good health, apart from my daughter being a little upset about being jabbed with needles. There were, however, some very concerning statements made by my kids to the doctors who screened them, both with and without any family present. Everything said has been transcribed and documented in their discharge papers. CPS has since been informed of the situation. The situation has been reported to the police and a medical release statement has been filed with them. They told me they would remain in contact with CPS and wait for their lead. The kids are legally staying within the care of myself and my family until further notice from Child Services. At this point in time, I've had no contact with my ex since this all came about. I have a tip on a great family law legal representative whom I will contact in the very near future to discuss my steps moving forward and about making a claim for primary custodial care. My family fully supports this decision, and we are all still incredibly shocked about this whole scenario. I am on the verge of having an absolute meltdown, but things actually seem okay for now. My kids are safe. I couldn't be more grateful for how supportive my family and friends have been over the last couple of days. Thank you to everyone who gave me their advice and support. I appreciate every one of you. Please do not feed your children turpentine. Update in another comment. I can pretty much guarantee that if you're buying bottles labeled 100% pure gum spirits or whatever, they look like this rather than this, and the warning label basically comes with a wink and a nod for free. Oop. Actually, it looked like this. Literally has poison impressed down the side of the plastic bottle, complete with all the expected warning labels. Straight from the paint section at Bunnings. Update post 3, 2 years after OG post. Just an update on things since everything went down and maybe provide a little clarity on a few key details. Not that it's necessary to me that you believe my story, Reddit being what it is and all. But bear with me as I haven't really spoken about the topic with anyone outside of my partner in a very, very long time. There will be a few additional details that won't be mentioned for discretionary reasons and active actions currently in place. Not very brief, sorry. I'll start by stating that the kids have been in my full care since that first post and are very happy and healthy. The mother has placed the entirety of blame on the grandmother and remains steadfast in that stance to this very day. The month prior to my post, they spent camping as a family, the kids and their mom's immediate family. They spent that entire time in her care, and there is no way she wasn't privy to what was happening. Every goddamn day, the kids had a effing song to sing about it, all substantiated in statements taken from them. So as a few have speculated, yes, this happened in regional Victoria, a couple hours from Melbourne. The hospital here could have taken the kids in for screening through ER, but they didn't have the facilities to actually test the blood work on site. The turnaround for a result, I was told, would have been a few days, possibly longer, as it had to get sent off. Alternatively, I could just wait until the following day to make the trip to the nearest facility that was capable of producing same-day results. We took that option. The kids were triaged the following day through ER. Tested for organ functionality, blood work came back clean. They were privately spoken to and assessed by on-site well-being officers, or whatever their title, and CPS was contacted through the hospital and a case opened. Note: yes, we do call them child protection here even though they operate under the DFFH banner, but so does community housing and disability support, in tangent with NDIS, so do with that information as you will. It's a broad department. We left with the medical reports, which included statements given by the children, and holy cow, were they being fed some wild facts about the world. That night, I made an informal statement at the local police station stating what the situation was and the actions taken, just so they had it on record. For those tracking the chronology of all this, we are roughly 30 hours into the timeline for me first finding out. CPS conducted several interviews over the next month with all parties involved, as well as a house call to my residence. Not sure how extensively they interviewed the mom. They concluded the children unfit to be in the mother's care, but were comfortable in closing their case should they remain with me full-time. Surprisingly, there was no legal order put in place. Apparently, they are happy to move on from a situation once comfortable with the results. Found a good law firm and started the legal process, which has been very slow due to a, unsurprising, lack of cooperation. Essentially, though, we have restricted the mother's access to supervised visitation and removed her parental right as a legal actor regarding medical decisions. She has only seen them a handful of times in the 2 years following, despite constant efforts to facilitate visitation. The kids have had therapy, and I've spent many hours talking to them over the last 2 years, helping them navigate their way through this. They'll have a lot of questions they'll expect answers for when they're older, I'm sure. Currently, we have managed to secure scheduled visitation with the mother through a professional contact center which facilitates supervised visits. It has been a effing wild ride, but we are incredibly lucky and happy to have the strong family unit we currently do, including my partner and her daughter who have been next to us through most of this process. Please teach your kids it's safe to be honest and open with you.